The diner was always full on Saturday mornings, the clink of cutlery and the buzz of conversations blending into the comforting chaos of routine. But Mia kept her head down, moving between tables with practiced grace, hoping her long sleeves wouldn't ride up and reveal the jagged scars trailing down her forearms, scars that drew stares and whispers whenever they were seen. Scars that told a story she had no interest in repeating, not to strangers, not to coworkers, and especially not to those who looked at her with pity or disgust. She had learned to fold into the background, her tattoo of an eagle clutching arrows in its talons, just above her wrist, always hidden beneath fabric. The symbol of her old military unit, now nothing more than a personal memory she carried quietly. With her, but on this morning, as the summer heat climbed and the air conditioning struggled to keep up, her sleeve slid slightly, exposing just enough of the inked wings for a nearby customer to notice. A boy in his early 20s, sitting with friends, let out a stifled laugh and pointed toward her arm. "Hey, check out the Waitress. What is that? Some kind of biker brand." His voice loud enough to carry across the table. The others laughed, emboldened by the moment. "Looks like she lost a fight with a chainsaw," another chimed in, and the group erupted in laughter. Mia clenched her teeth, willing her face to remain neutral, continuing to refill coffee cups and deliver orders, as if nothing was happening. Her manager looked up from behind the counter but said nothing. She was used to this: comments, whispers, the occasional cruel joke. They never bothered to ask, never thought to consider that the scars might have come with a cost. At booth 7, a man in his 60s watched the scene unfold. His posture was straight, his eyes sharp beneath a well-worn baseball cap that bore the embroidered emblem of the 173rd Airborne. He stirred his coffee once, then set the spoon down deliberately. When Mia reached his table, he looked at her sleeve, and then directly into her eyes. "That's a unit tattoo," he said, voice steady, the tone more a statement than a question. Mia's eyes flickered with uncertainty. "Yes, sir," she replied softly. "I was a combat medic." His expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of something: respect, perhaps, or recognition. "Afghanistan?" he asked. She nodded once. 2015 to 2018. Forward operating base choice. He leaned back slightly, his gaze never leaving hers. "I was in Kandahar." "Oh, 4. They were quiet for a moment, the noise of the diner fading into the background. Then he turned his head slightly toward the table of young men still snickering. "Mind if I say something?" Mia hesitated, then gave a small shake of her head. The man stood, his back straight as a flagpole, and walked over to the table. "Excuse me, gentlemen," he said, voice carrying without the need to shout. The boys turned, startled. "Did you enjoy your little joke?" One of them opened his mouth to reply, but the man raised a hand. "That woman you mocked? She served this country? She patched soldiers under fire. That tattoo? It's from a unit that's seen more action than most people can stomach in a lifetime." The diner went quiet, forks pausing in midair, eyes turning toward the confrontation. "Those scars? She earned them doing something you wouldn't have the guts to try?" He leaned in slightly, his voice still calm, but now cutting like a blade. "You think that makes her less?" "It makes her more than you'll ever understand." The young man fumbled for something to say, but nothing came. After a moment, the man returned to his seat. Mia stood nearby, unsure what to do, a strange ache forming in her throat. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded. "You don't need to hide that tattoo. You wore the uniform. Be proud." She gave a small, hesitant smile, something that hadn't come easily in a long time. As she moved through the diner again, something had shifted. The mocking stares were gone. A woman at another table gave her a nod. A couple near the window clapped softly. The manager came over during her break and apologized, offering her an early lunch and a longer pause. Later that day, as she rolled up her sleeves to wipe down the counter, she didn't pull them back down. The tattoo was visible, and so were the scars. And for the first time in a long while, Mia felt like she didn't have to shrink from them. They weren't a source of shame. They were marks of survival, symbols of service, and reminders of a strength few could comprehend. Word of the incident spread around town, and within days, locals began greeting her with more warmth, some leaving notes on napkins that simply said thank you, others tipping generously without a word. Veterans started coming in more often too, some recognizing her unit tattoo, others just wanting to sit near someone who understood. The man who had spoken up that day returned every week. He never made a fuss, always sat at booth 7, always ordered black coffee and eggs over easy. They never talked much, but when they did, it was enough. One day, weeks later, a group of high school students came in for breakfast. Mia served them without incident, but as they were leaving, one of them paused and said, "My uncle's." Ah, that too. He said to tell you he respects what you did. She nodded, eyes misting slightly, but she held it together. She always did. Not long after, the diner owner asked if she'd consider managing a shift. "You've earned it," he said simply. And she had. She wasn't hiding anymore. The scars remained, but so did her pride. The tattoo was no longer a secret, and every time someone noticed it now, it wasn't followed by ridicule but by questions. Gratitude or simply quiet respect. In the end, the laughter that once sought to tear her down had become the turning point. From shame to strength, Mia stood tall, sleeves rolled up, scars and ink telling a story louder than words ever could.